Ark Raiders. It's a good game. Oh, don't get misled by this very colourful motif. It shows up like twice. Once in the loading screen and the other on one terminal of a variant of the animation that plays for every round. And also I guess the skill tree, but you barely ever look at it. All of the marketing for this game, it's very bright and 70s, and then you get into a mission. Yeah, this game is every shade of grey, blue, grey, beige. Don't get me wrong, this is not a criticism. I think it helps, and it does look good. But I would describe this as a tension shooter, if that's a thing. The flat colours make it easier to see shapes and enemies and people just in the ambient noise of the background, where there are none. Wait, people? The way this game treats people is very effective at creating tension. To explain this, death in this game is very punishing. When you die, you lose all your stuff in your inventory. That means everything you've collected that round, but also your armor, your shield, your guns, your ammo, your healing items and bombs, and any other item you might have brought with you like keys. That's stuff you spent many rounds building up. Of course, this creates tension. You don't want to lose your stuff, so every fight matters. You don't want to lose your stuff, but neither does anyone else. PvP in this game is generally unsatisfying. Not because the actual PvP fight is unsatisfying. It feels like a struggle to survive, and those fights are very tense, with everything on the line. And then you win, and they just have the free starting items and nothing of value you couldn't get from 3 crates. This is what I mean by it being unsatisfying. It's never really worth it. I've never started a PvP fight, even if I keep winning them, because I don't know what they have. And what they do I can get elsewhere, so might as well not bother. This might sound like a critique, and well, it is, slightly, but I think that works because it builds tension. Every time you meet a player, it's very tense as you both go, "Ah, don't shoot!"
Hey, don't shoot!
Well, they could do something like this. And the game makes sure that there are plenty of moments where you are vulnerable to being backstabbed. Whenever you open loot, or call for extraction, don't you dare. Players create tension with the potential for PvP, and it keeps that tension by never being realised because it's not worth the risk. Now, you can't wring out enough tension for a whole game with players that don't attack you, so what about the enemies? I do quite like them. They are very strong and will all basically 2 or 3 shot you, so you have to be clever with cover and try to sneak around. And this makes walking across open areas, where if a drone sees you, you're as good as dead, very tense. And the levels are designed to help this. The maps have a good mixture of more closed off, safer areas where the players can leverage cover to be effective in a fight, but they are connected by wide open areas where big spider monsters and drones will have a field day with your health bar. You might think these enclosed areas would, as soon as you get inside them, just evaporate the tension, because, well, you're safe here now. But they've very cleverly designed it so that in all of the more enclosed areas there's always a big old hole or window for drones or players to ambush you while you're minding your own loot. And exploring in the enclosed areas is tense, as you'll be constantly jump scared by these twats. The sound design of this game is great. The game is usually quiet until you start breaching a crate, and you sit there, vulnerable, making the loudest noise imaginable. I still avoid breaching things, even though I haven't actually suffered any consequences from being so vulnerable. The design of the game is just that good at building the tension. Also, the enemies are very loud. They constantly remind you that they are there, ready to shoot you. They don't let the tension drop. They constantly remind you that at any moment, one could just fly past a window and shoot you. Now, you might think this would lose all the tension as soon as it starts being quiet. Except, You'll be jump scared by these. But also, other players are very quiet and do sneak. Are they just standing still? Or are they crouching around somewhere? It's only fair that I talk about the problems I have with this game. First of all, different Ark enemies all look quite similar, and their silhouettes are not distinct. Enemies like the drones and the balls all look identical to the other ones. I mean, look at these. Look at these. Look at these. Tell me you can tell the difference in a dark corridor. I constantly mix up which jump scare balls is which. Oh, it was the flamethrower one. And for the flying drone, it's quite hard to judge their level, as it mostly comes down to size. And size is quite hard to guess when there is no reference, 'cause in sky. When I first started playing the game, when I felt comfortable enough to actually get involved in the combat, first enemy I decided to shoot at was a Rocketeer, which two-shot me instantly. Another thing is, and this is going to sound like a weird complaint, but the game gives you too much stuff. You loot 3 chests and your inventory is full. So, what's the point sticking around? You might as well leave the round. You might think, well, you should continue looking around to fully stack up each slot. Except, most items can only stack up to 3 and there's a weight limit, so no, just go and leave. And you might think, well, you've just picked up a bunch of rubbish that you don't need to keep. This one eventually becomes true partially when you slowly build up a big stockpile of the base resources, but they're only a small portion of the items you get, and all of the advanced items that you craft need resources that can only be got from the surface. So you might as well keep everything. You'll regret not picking up that cracked bioscanner because you thought it was just a cracked version of the bioscanner, so it's just for salvage. But no. Anyway, it's a good game. You should play it. Or not, I'm not your dad. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Also, there's an artist called Simon Stalenhag, who I did for an art project, who has basically the exact same art style as this game, and I've not seen anyone mention it. I don't even know if he knows about this game existing. So, yeah.